So in order to turn in your assignments and better collaborate on your code, there is GitHub and Git. So hopefully you already know a little bit about working in the terminal and doing things like that because we're going to use it in this lesson. So the first thing you're going to need to do after you've clicked on a link, so in the lessons you'll be linked to these repositories, and this should be the first one. So after you get here, you're going to have to fork this repository into your own personal account. So by now you should have already created a GitHub account, and there are no repositories in it yet because you haven't forked any or created your own. So this is going to be the first time that we add any repositories to your account. And so first thing we're going to do is click this fork button, and what this is going to do, it's going to create a copy from this PG programming organization to your own personal account. So let's go ahead and click on that. Chances are you won't have this menu because this pulls up because I'm in an organization. If you're in an organization, you'll just have to make sure that you click on your personal account. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Chances are you won't need to do that. So this is creating a copy, not local, it's still remote. So it's a copy from PG Programming Lesson 1 into my personal account Lesson 1. So that's what's happening here. So that means that now we've got our own copy on GitHub of this repository. But we don't want it on GitHub necessarily. I mean, we do long term, but we want to be able to edit that, and that means we need a local copy. So you're going to have to go ahead and click this clone or download button, and then click this little copy to clipboard button. And then we're going to jump over to our terminal, and here's my terminal, and I'm just going to put git clone, which is really important. So now we're telling Git that we want to clone a repository, and then I'm going to paste in the URL that I just barely copied from over here. So I copied that, and I'm going to paste it here after this git clone. Then click enter. It's going to clone this, and it's going to create a repository. So if I click, if I type ls, you'll see I've got a lot of a lot of folders here. But the one that we're looking for is lesson 1, and we'll see it right here. So I can now go cd lesson 1, and that changed my current directory from code to lesson 1. Now I'm in lesson 1. I can see that by doing a pwd, and it's going to show me this is my path. I'm in the lesson 1 directory. So now is where we actually would go ahead and make our changes. So I could do that by, let's just open the tip calculator, and I'm going to print all done. So this isn't something I normally would do, but I'm just showing you that once I edit a file, and this is the editor that I'm in. Don't be confused that this is the terminal. This is the editor. Once I close the editor and I've saved it, I can do a git status, and it's going to show me that there's a file that I've modified that hasn't been committed yet. So after we've made all the modifications that we want, we need to stage those changes by doing a git add. So you can add things to the stage, and I'm just going to put I can put a dot here to specify a certain file, or I can specify a single file by just typing it out here. So I'm going to git add tip calculator, and what it's going to do is it's going to stage that. That doesn't mean that it's committed yet. It just means that I've added it to the stage of things that will be committed. And so now I can check that by going git status, and it's going to show me the changes that are to be committed. Doesn't mean they have been yet, but they will be. And so and it gives me instructions if I want to unstage it. If that was an accident, I didn't want to actually stage that, then I can undo it. But this is showing what will be staged. Now, if we want to commit it, we will do a git commit, and then I'm going to specify this -m, and all that means is that it's going to say that I'm about to type a message. And so you're going to do git commit -m, and then put in a good commit message, a commit message that when you look at it later is going to make sense. It's going to make sense of what you changed in this latest commit. So I'm going to say printed all done, or something like that. Then I'm going to press enter. Then now that we've committed, we've got a local commit with that. I can say git log, and it'll show me everything that's happened. So you can see all of the changes that have happened. This is the commit identifier. This is the message, and this is who did it and when. So really handy to be able to see that. And then finally, we want to push our local changes. This isn't something you always need to do, but it's good to try to keep your GitHub version as closely synchronized as your remote version. So we're going to push those changes to GitHub. And so I'm going to say git push origin master. And this might seem like a little bit of magic. I'm not going to go into great detail of what this is. Origin is specifying we want it to go to GitHub, and then master is specifying the branch we want to go to. And so one thing that I'm not going to go into great detail with is branches. Git has the ability to create branches. If you think about a tree, you can, and just like we did with a fork, we were able to fork a repository. Well, a branch is kind of a similar concept, but it's only within the same repository. So Joe could be working on something in his own branch, and then I could be working on my own thing in my branch. And then later on, we could try to merge those branches back together into the master branch. But we can still be working in our own branches. So that's kind of a brief introduction to what branches are. Don't worry about it. In this class, we're not going to be dealing with branches. You just have to remember to git push origin master to push your local changes back to GitHub. So I'm going to do that. It's going to show here that it's doing all of that, and then it's going to say that it's done. So now if I were to go back to this repository, it's going to show that if you saw there were 3 commits. Now there are 4. I can click on it. I can see that I printed all done when I was done. And then I should be able to see the file that I changed. And yeah, it's showing the commit message, the most recent commit message saying it was 2 minutes ago. So that's how you can pull down this repository, make local changes, commit those changes, and push them back to GitHub. It's very useful. And like I've said before, Git and GitHub are very powerful tools and probably the best thing right now that we can use to collaborate on your code. So I hope that's a good introduction to how to use it. Those are basically all the operations you're going to need to use in this stage of learning how to code, and these are useful to you.